I spent $5,998 on Alex Hormozi's big webinar launch, and I'm going to unbox it with you today and tell you why it was a colossal waste of money, and I'll tell you the story about how I ended up with this stupid thing. So, true story. I was on vacation only 2 weeks ago, in Morocco. I was literally on the back of a camel going through the Sahara Desert with my girlfriend, and my phone starts blowing up. I've got 4 missed calls. I've got 100 messages from a couple of my team members, and they're peppering me. They're like, dude, should we buy this thing? We want to buy this thing. They're in the live webinar. They're getting hard sold by Alex Hormozi for like 8 hours or something crazy. And they're like, should we buy it? Should we buy it? Should we buy it? And my answer to one of our team members was, I think it's incredibly stupid, but if you want to do it, do it. I'm on a camel. I'll talk to you later. Anyway, I see 10,000 Australian dollars with 6,000 USD. 10,000 Australian dollars has disappeared from our bank account, and they had bought $100 million Playbooks. So let's unbox this thing and let me tell you why it was a terrible decision and why I thought that'd be stupid to buy it. And let me be clear, I love Alex Hormozi. I think Hormozi is one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs of our generation. I think everything he creates is fantastic. However, first let me tell you why I think this is a stupid purchase. The reason I think this is a stupid purchase is because this is a product designed for business owners. Now, as a business owner and as someone who's owned businesses for 8 years and does over $1 million a month in revenue, one of the things I've learned to really focus on in companies is understanding the constraint of your business. This is something Alex talks a lot about that I completely agree with. In any business right now, you are facing a major constraint. There's a bottleneck preventing you from achieving the things that you want to achieve. And this wonderful purchase that they decided to make covers a range of different topics, right? We've got money models. We've got a book in here on branding. We've got one on fast cash. We've got one on closing. We've got one on content. We've got one on proof checklists. We've got all these different pieces of content. And while I don't doubt for a second this is going to be hyper valuable content, and I don't doubt for a second we're going to get our money's worth from this purchase over time, the reason I don't like that the guys bought this and the reason I was shitty with them was because there is a current constraint in the company. And if we, instead of spending 10,000 Australian dollars on this, spent $10,000 on a dedicated solution to that constraint, to that problem, we would likely be further ahead and the money would be better spent. So for example, right now they're struggling with quality leads. Now, if we're struggling with quality leads in that business, we could spend $10,000 on ads. We could spend $10,000 on an agency or on a specialist or on a course on producing higher quality leads. For $10,000, we could hire somebody from one of our competitors and pay them $100,000 a year, and you've got them for the first month for the same price as this book or as these books. And that's, I think, a far better utilization of capital. I think if you've got a limited pool of funds with which to grow your business, you should dedicate those funds and dedicate that cash reserve and dedicate that resource towards very specifically working on solving that constraint instead of on 100 ways to solve 100 constraints. And like I said, I love Alex Hormozi and I'll skim through this afternoon. I'm sure it's going to be great content, but it's a very poor utilization of capital to just buy general business advice, in my opinion. When you're running a company, you should know what your constraint is. If you don't know what your constraint is, figure out what your constraint is. And once you've understood what your constraint is, dedicate that resource, dedicate those funds to resolving that constraint instead of on stuff. And you'll be much better at getting through it. I'm very confident in that. So $100 million Playbooks, Alex Hormozi, I do love you, but I'm very shitty with my team for spending 10,000 Australian dollars, 6,000 USD on essentially a series of books for general business advice, instead of spending that money on something that is going to move the needle on the constraints of that business. Still love Hormozi, still probably think this is going to be fantastic, but bad use of company funds, boys. Fucking just be smarter. Be smarter and don't spend money frivolously.